This script is designed for a 20-minute deep dive into Die with Zero by Bill Perkins. To ensure the AI voice sounds natural, I have used a conversational tone, included verbal breathers, and structured the content to flow seamlessly. Since you requested a high word count for a 20-minute duration, I will provide the first half, approximately 10 minutes, below. Please let me know once you have copied this, and I will generate the second half immediately. Imagine you've spent 40 years of your life running a marathon. You've sacrificed sleep, skipped family dinners, and pushed your body to the limit to reach the finish line. You finally get there, and the prize is a massive trunk full of gold. But there's a catch. The moment you touch the gold, you drop dead. You never got to spend a single coin. The gold is useless, and the time you spent chasing it is gone forever. This isn't just a metaphor. For many of us, this is exactly how we are living our lives. We are oversaving for a future we might not even be healthy enough to enjoy. Welcome to the philosophy of Die with Zero by Bill Perkins. Hello everyone, and welcome to the show. Today we are breaking down a book that is fundamentally challenging the way we think about money, work, and the great American retirement dream. Whether you're just starting your career or you're decades into the grind, this episode is going to hit home. Bill Perkins isn't telling you to be reckless or irresponsible. He's telling you that your life is a collection of experiences, and if you leave a huge pile of money behind when you die, you've essentially wasted the life energy it took to earn that money. By the end of this episode, we're going to talk about why saving for a rainy day might be a trap, how to calculate your peak wealth, and why the most valuable thing you can own is a memory dividend. Let's start with the big, scary idea, dying with zero. To most of us, this sounds like a financial nightmare. We've been conditioned from childhood to save, save, save. We're told that the person with the most money at the end wins. But Perkins asks a very uncomfortable question. If you die with $1 million in the bank, what does that actually mean? It means you worked for years of your life, thousands of hours of stress and labor for absolutely nothing. You could have worked less and spent more time with your kids. You could have retired earlier. You could have traveled when your knees still worked. That $1 million represents life energy that you never got back. Think about your life in seasons. There are things you can do at 25 that you simply cannot do at 75. You can't backpack across Europe and sleep in hostels when you're 80. Well, you could, but your back is going to have a very different opinion about it than it did in your 20s. This is what Perkins calls age-appropriate experiences. Our ability to extract enjoyment from a dollar changes as we age. $1,000 spent on a trip in your 30s might give you a level of joy that $10,000 spent in your 70s can't touch, because your health and energy are different. One of the most profound concepts in this book is the memory dividend. When you pay for an experience, say a big family reunion or a solo trip to Japan, you aren't just paying for those few days. You're buying a memory that pays you dividends for the rest of your life. Every time you think about that trip, or tell a story about it, or look at a photo, you get a hit of happiness. The earlier you have the experience, the more years you have to collect those dividends. If you wait until you're 65 to do the things you love, you've shortened the time you have to enjoy the memories. You've essentially lowered the interest rate on your life experiences. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but what about my kids? I want to leave a legacy. Perkins has an answer for that too, and it's a bit of a reality check. If you want to help your children, why are you waiting until you're dead? Most people inherit money when they're in their 50s or 60s. By then, they're already established. They don't need the money as much as they did when they were 30, trying to buy a house or start a business. If you want to give, give while you're alive. You get to see the impact of your gift, and they get the help when it actually matters. Leaving an inheritance at death is just a byproduct of poor planning. Before we get into the life buckets strategy and the mathematical peak of your wealth, let's take a quick breather. If this conversation is making you rethink your bank balance, do me a favor, share this episode with that one friend who works way too much and never takes a vacation. And if you're enjoying these deep dives, leave us a review on your favorite platform. It helps us keep the lights on and keeps the work until you drop mindset at bay. Let's talk about the fear factor. The reason most people don't die with zero is fear. Fear of running out of money, fear of a medical emergency. Perkins acknowledges this, but he argues that we are over-insuring against a worst-case scenario at the cost of our best-case life. We spend our healthiest years working to guard against a period of life, our 90s, where we might not even be able to enjoy the money anyway. He suggests using annuities or long-term care insurance to handle the tail-end risks so you can feel free to spend your money while you're still mobile. This brings us to one of the most practical tools in the book, time bucketing. Forget the bucket list that you hope to do one day. Instead, draw out your life in 5 or 10-year segments, from 30 to 35, 40 to 45, and so on. Now look at the experiences you want to have and drop them into the buckets where they actually belong. When are you going to go skiing? When are you going to take that cooking class in Italy? When you see it laid out like this, you realize that the window for many of your dreams is much smaller than you think. It forces you to realize that later is often a code word for never. Perkins also challenges the way we view the relationship between money, time, and health. These are the 3 variables of life. When you're young, you have time and health, but no money. In middle age, you have money and health, but no time. In old age, you have money and time, but your health is declining. The sweet spot is that middle period, but we often spend it trading our precious health and time for even more money that we won't have the health to spend later. It's a tragic trade-off that we do on autopilot.
Now, let's get into the part that usually makes people nervous, the wealth peak. Most of us are taught that our net worth should be a line that goes straight up until the day we die. We want to see that number hit its all-time high at the very end. But Perkins argues that if your net worth is at its highest when you die, you failed the game of life. There is a mathematical point, usually somewhere between the ages of 45 and 60 for most people, where you should actually stop saving and start spending down. This is the peak. It's the moment where your accumulated wealth is enough to sustain you for the rest of your life, including a safety net, while allowing you to maximize your experiences. If you keep saving past this point, you are literally trading your remaining hours of health for money you will never use. It's like continuing to fuel up a car when you only have 50 miles left in the journey. Why pay for a full tank of gas if you're pulling into the garage for good? The challenge, of course, is that our culture treats spending as a sin and saving as a virtue. But Perkins reframes this beautifully. He says that failing to spend is actually a form of waste. If you spend $50,000 on a luxury car, you have a car. If you leave $50,000 in the bank when you pass away, that money essentially disappears from your life. It becomes a zero. You didn't save it, you just failed to live it. Let's look at the efficiency of your life. Imagine a graph. One line is your wealth, and the other line is your utility, your ability to actually enjoy that wealth. As you get older, your utility line starts to drop. You might have the money for a 5-star dining experience, but if your doctor has you on a restricted diet, the utility of that money is low. If you have the money for a trip to the Himalayas, but your joints can't handle the altitude, the utility is zero. This is why the die with zero philosophy is actually the most logical way to live. It's about matching your wealth to your capacity to enjoy it. So how do we actually start doing this without feeling like we're being reckless? It starts with a shift in focus from total net worth to total life fulfillment. Perkins suggests we should be investing in our health just as aggressively as we invest in our 401ks. Why? Because health is the ultimate multiplier. If you have $1 million and great health, you have $1 million life. If you have $1 million and poor health, you might only have a $10,000 life. Every dollar you spend on a trainer, better food, or preventative care is an investment that extends the utility phase of your life. It keeps that window of experience open just a little bit longer. I want to touch on a very personal aspect of this book, the last time meditation. It's a bit heavy, but stay with me. For every activity in your life, there will be a last time you do it. There will be a last time you pick up your child, a last time you play a game of pickup basketball, a last time you travel abroad. The problem is, we usually don't know when the last time is happening.
We assume there's always more time. Die with Zero forces us to acknowledge the finish line. It's not meant to be morbid, it's meant to be a wake-up call. When you realize that your active years are a finite resource, you stop saying maybe next year and you start booking the flight today. As we start to wrap this up, I want you to think about your own bank account, not as a scorecard of your success, but as a fuel tank for your journey. Are you hoarding fuel while the destination is already in sight? Are you waiting for a retirement that might look very different than you imagine? Remember, the goal isn't to be the richest person in the graveyard. The goal is to slide into home base with a bank account at zero and a heart full of memories, knowing you squeezed every ounce of joy out of the time you were given. Before we go, here is your Die with Zero cheat sheet to take with you. First, remember that your life is a business of experience collection. Your net worth is a tool, not the goal. Use it to buy memory dividends as early as possible. Second, give to your loved ones and your causes while you're alive. Don't wait for a will to do what you can do today. The impact is greater and the joy is shared. And third, find your peak. Calculate when you have enough and have the courage to stop the grind and start the living. Don't trade your health for a number on a screen. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know this philosophy can be a bit of a shock to the system, but sometimes we need a little shock to remember that our time is the only currency we can never earn back. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who needs permission to take a break and enjoy their life. Until next time, take care of your health, cherish your memories, and remember, you can't take it with you, so you might as well use it to make your life an adventure worth living.